Hey guys, Matthew Adelmann with Matthew Adelmann Realty, bringing you the hottest, coolest news on the real estate market in the Twin Cities for the week ending last week, 7/26, 2021. We have some new news, new articles here to share with you guys. Maybe some potential shifts in the market, and then I'm going to dig into the numbers for you just to give you a sense of what was happening last week in the market. I do want to start it off with just a quick story of what we're seeing, at least for some of our buyer clients that we have. I have written and got 3 purchase agreements under contract in the last week, and every single one of those has been at list price with inspection contingencies. Now that doesn't seem all that significant in a normal market, but as you guys know, the last 2 months have been anything but normal, especially in the Twin Cities. Lots and lots of contracts going well above list price. As I show you in the numbers today, it's still by and large happening in the Twin Cities that houses are selling over list, but for whatever reason, for us, at least in our office, the last week has been a little slower than usual. So thought I'd start with that, and as I jump into the rest of what I'm seeing. As always, if you guys want to stay up to date on tips, tricks, things that I'm sharing on this channel, please hit subscribe. I'd love to have you join the channel here and hit the little bell if you want to be notified when I launch new videos. I'm trying to shoot new content at least a couple times a week. Tips, tricks, news, things all real estate related in the Twin Cities. So it would be awesome to have you join. And with that, why don't we jump into the news? So, first article, I thought I'd go the investor route. You guys know I buy properties throughout the state, and I always have an eye on the investor market. Um, Interesting to see the rebound here. Q2 was a record for the number of investment properties bought throughout the country. Now, this is data from Redfin. We're up double what we were at this time last year. Now, I know last year was a gigantic anomaly, but if you just kind of look 2018, 2019, you can see we're, 8,000 purchases above what we saw in 2019. 2019 was already a really hot investor market, and it looks like it rebounded. So, you know, I think with the eviction moratorium being lifted, with the states starting to, get a little more certainty in how the rental market's going to shake out over the next at least 6 months, pending no major changes in the world again. Investors feel comfortable again getting back into the market. I talked about it 2 weeks ago. A lot of the big hedge funds right now, a lot of the institutional investors and Wall Street guys are buying a ton of single family homes. And not only are they buying a ton of homes, they're actually buying land and developing single family homes specifically for renting. So I wasn't super surprised to see this number really peak in Q2. Honestly, if this last week was any indication, if the market is softening and prices aren't crazy anymore, I do think investors are going to continue buying. So just keep that in mind. If you are an investor, I do think it's a good time. I'm personally still buying. If you are, just looking for a single family house yourself, I wouldn't be too concerned if investors are in the market. Honestly, they're typically looking for deals, and they're going to structure their offers way differently. So, if you're looking for your next future home and investors are crazy, so what? Oh, we'll ignore that. You guys are more important. So with that being said, another article that I thought was interesting. Um, so like I mentioned last week, the last couple weeks have been a little slower than usual. However, I wanted to call this out because I want you guys all to understand the day that a house goes live on the market, the next 3, 4, 5 days are going to be the make or break and the most important time that your house is live. The houses that continue to go above list price that we're seeing are the ones that are staged. They look beautiful. There's no question in the potential buyer's mind as they're walking through the house if this is going to be a good fit for them or not. And so, what this article is talking about is hyperactive the first 5 days of a listing. That's true. I mean, things are usually pretty crazy the first few days. If we don't have an offer by the end of the weekend or after, the fifth day, there's probably something, off with the way that the house was presented or staged. And so, it's a chance for us to go back through and maybe we make some adjustments. But it was encouraging to see, Showing Time, which is the app that all realtors use as we book showings for buyers and sellers. Showing Time is still seeing hyperactivity for the first 5 days of a listing. I I don't know how often Showing Time releases that data, but I think that's going to be an important metric to keep track of over the next 6 months and just see what do the first few days of showings look like moving forward. I mean, I was at two or three showings about a month ago where there was 20 people lined up outside. That's not hyperactive. We'll call that insanity. I haven't seen that lately, but I do want to see hyperactivity in the beginning. I think that's an important thing for sellers as they go to list. Um, Condo market heats up. I think this is really encouraging. Urban city centers of the last year have taken uh, kind of a beating in terms of livability with a lot of the stuff that's been happening throughout the country. A lot of urban city centers have been looted, rioted, disrupted. A lot of people were getting out of the cities where a lot of condos typically are. And so condo prices really fell off way more so than single family homes did last year in the pandemic. And they took a long time to get back. I think it was about a month ago where I was talking about how condo prices in the Minneapolis market are starting to at least get back to where they were before. So it was encouraging to see it in June across the country. Condo prices jumped more than 20% as sales are starting to rebound. Um, I think city centers are so important to the economy, especially take the downtown Minneapolis area as an example, or downtown St. Paul. Like, there's a lot of condos that drive a lot of, you know, money for the restaurants and the bars and the stadiums and the attractions that we all really like to enjoy, throughout the year. And so if the condo markets are slumping and people are moving out of those city centers, the downtown areas really start to get a little run down and money moves out, and it's just not a great thing overall. So seeing the condo market get strong again and people wanting to live, downtown again, hopefully we're as a society getting a little, I don't know, I always say get back to normal, whatever that is, but this was an encouraging article to see. Along those lines, I wanted to give a little color as to what I'm seeing with rental rates throughout the country, especially in the Twin Cities. So, um, I don't know that this is super surprising, but with COVID last year, a lot of people wanted to get out of their small spaces, out of their small studios and one bedrooms, and try to find apartments that had a little more space in them. Whether they wanted, they're working from home and need an office, or they have kids and just want a little more space because they can't go out as much. So rental rates, they did raise last year, but they really, really went up a lot in the two bedroom and above market, and so I think this is going to be interesting to track, because as I saw this, immediately started thinking, well, all right, if people really don't want studios right now, maybe there's an opportunity to start looking at the studio condo market. Maybe those are going to be a little depressed right now, and it's a good time to jump in and potentially get a couple under contract. I know my sister has talked about getting a place. They live, an hour out of the cities. They've talked about getting a place downtown because they like to come to Timberwolves games and enjoy restaurants and whatever. And so people like that, maybe there's an opportunity in the studio or the one bedroom market, um, or maybe in the if you're going to buy it as a actual rental, maybe the prices are going to be a little depressed in the studios, and as people shift back from wanting more space, in a year or two, trends are always like this. I can totally see people saying, I don't really need two bedrooms anymore. Let's downsize to a one bedroom or studio again. So, yeah, I think it's worth taking a look at. Maybe there's a strategy to go after the smaller units right now. But 44 cities, the article here is from I think it's realtor.com. They track the rental market throughout the major metropolitans. And so 44 of the major metropolitans throughout the country had records last month in terms of rental rates. So, interesting to see. Minneapolis, St. Paul, for us, we did see a rise in rental rates just like the rest of the country, but not as dramatic as a lot of the markets. I think the average rental increases for the Minneapolis, St. Paul market was somewhere around 4% on average. And I think the two bedroom rental rates was about 6 or 7% increase. Studios were about a 1% decline in rental rates. So we sort of follow the trend, but we weren't as dramatically impacted one way or another compared to some parts of the country. And so this, the last article, my title, headline, question, exclamation point. 94% of listings don't include a virtual tour. This blows my mind. Especially with what just happened with COVID and with people not always wanting to go through houses and a lot of stuff shifting to digital and online. I could not believe when I saw this article that many listings don't have a virtual tour. For us on our team, it's standard. We will take somewhere around 60, 70, 80 pictures. In fact, I'm going to pull up just so you guys see exactly what it looks like. We take a ton of pictures. Let's see if I can find one. We take a lot of pictures and we take a ton of virtual footage as we walk through virtual tour footage. And so when you go through our listings, here's the pictures. This is a listing that Daniel has up in St. Michael. Clean pictures, good descriptions. You're not going to look at a picture and go, what is that room? I don't understand it. A lot of realtors will just put mumbo jumbo there, or it'll be some arbitrary iPhone picture description, or just who knows what. We really take the time to be diligent in our photos and our descriptions. So this property, we've got 30 photos. You see everyone is going to add value to the listing and make sure that it helps potential buyers understand what they're looking at. We put 2 virtual tours in every single one of our listings, right? This one is the most important. So this is called Matterport, which, by the way, this company just went public last week through a blank check company, one of those SPACs. But this is the Matterport, right? We have a machine. We set it up in each room. Not we, the photographer does. They'll set it up in each room, and you can just walk around the house like you were there. So from the comfort of your home, or if you're relocating and you can't make it to the market and you want to get a feel for it, every single listing we have, right? Sorry if it's making you sick. I'm going fast. Like you literally walk. Oh, I wonder what upstairs looks like. Oh, okay. What's the bedroom look like? Oh, it's a bathroom. Great. Like it doesn't. There's no question, right, on how it lays out. So if that article is accurate, and if was it 94, 96% of listings don't have virtual tours, that just blows my mind. A lot of them will call this a virtual tour, so we do this too. We take all of our pictures that are in the listing and we'll make a slideshow with it. I don't know if it's a virtual tour, it's music, but it's the pictures that you already saw. It's not quite the same. I think the Matterport view is just amazing to be able to quickly, especially like me, as an investor, I don't always scroll. We're used to I don't know. I don't know. So tip for you guys, if you're listing and you're not using us, all right, give me a call. Let's chat. Maybe you do want to use us. But if you're not and you are feel comfortable with your agent, I would at least push and make sure that you're getting Matterport and you're getting really quality pictures taken of your listing, and make sure that stands out especially when there's hundreds of homes to choose from. So those were the headlines I saw throughout last week. In terms of the numbers themselves, new inventory in the 5-county metro. So again, I pull Hennepin County, Ramsey County, Carver, Scott County, Dakota County. I lump it all together into one number, and look at that in totality, give us a feel for what's kind of happening in the Twin Cities. And then I'll pull each county separately. So new inventory, total new listings on the market last week, 706 new properties. I'm excluding condos just to keep it simple on single family homes. Dropped a little bit from the last 2 weeks, but maybe a little. Well, yeah, I guess it's quite a bit lower than what we were seeing in May and June. But 706 new listings. The average listing price was 300, or median listing price for a new house in the Twin Cities 5 metro region was 365,000. We had 680 houses go to pending last week, which is a pretty healthy number, although again a little lower than what we have been seeing. So here's our graph for pending homes. And there were 464 houses that closed last week. which is down quite a bit from what we had been seeing, over the last month or so. Average days on market for a house in the Twin Cities, 28 days. Median days on market, 17. So this is coming down quite a bit from the anomaly spike that we saw from the 4th of July. Still not as fast as we were seeing in May and June. But I think that number is probably going to hover around 17. 17 historically is incredibly low. Typically houses would sit 30, 40, 50 days on market, prior to COVID. So we're still super, super fast with that 17 days. And then total active listings throughout everything available on the MLS right now in the Twin Cities is 2,900 houses. This is maybe the most important metric to track. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that we had a few contracts that we were able to secure this week that were at list price, which is kind of incredible because we haven't done that in a year. And by and large, when you look at what closed last week in the Twin Cities, the average house in the Twin Cities was originally listed for somewhere around $365,000. This is for the properties that closed last week. They ended up median sell price of $384,500. That's a difference from list 105.3%, which is really high. I mean, for the last 5 years, we were 101, 102%. And to be at 105, it's still elevated. It's still as high as we have seen throughout much of this year, where houses are going significantly over list price. So, we'll see what the next few weeks bring. If we keep writing offers at list and keep getting accepted, maybe we're on a new trend, and the back half of the year will be a little different. But until we get a few more weeks data and see something start to shift, I don't want to speak too soon. Most expensive house sold last week, $2 million house. Least expensive, $149,000 house. Pretty much on par with what we've seen throughout the last 6 or 7 weeks. I am going to jump into the individual county data. I don't have it as robust as I do for the total 5-county metro, but I do want to point out a couple things because it is starting to get pretty different depending on the county that you're purchasing in terms of price point, and just available inventory. Obviously, Hennepin County and Ramsey County, the most people, the most populated, you're going to have the most listings. But in Hennepin County, that median price point for all new active houses last week was $374,000. Compare that to the total Twin Cities, it's $10,000 more on average for a house listed in Hennepin. Ramsey, $294,000. That blows my mind. Ramsey County is that different than Hennepin County and the rest of the Twin Cities. So, 140 new listings. That's a pretty big number. A median price point of $294,000. Like, maybe there's a couple investment opportunities over there. Carver County, way more expensive. Median listing, now there was only 30 new listings in all of Carver County last week, but median listing of almost $440,000. Days on market still fast, 19 days. Ramsey County moves real fast, 14. Hennepin is like the rest of Twin Cities at 17. Scott County, again, this is an inexpensive county by and large. 44 new listings, median price point $452,000. Again, Hennepin County in general, $365,000. So if you're looking at Scott County, it's a wonderful place. I lived in Scott County for many years. Median price point $452,000. Houses are moving relatively at the same speed, 19 days on market. Scott County is seeing a little more even list price to sell price, at 101%. That's kind of the historical number we've been seeing over the last couple of years. You can see when I did track those numbers prior to 4th of July, it was significantly higher. So moving forward, I'm going to be more diligent about tracking all of this, but you're going to pay more in Scott County on average, but you're going to not, I don't want to say overpay, but you can be a little more creative with how you structure your offers in Scott County. Same with Carver County. I mean, it was exactly houses were selling at list price for the most part last week. And then Dakota County, a little more in line with Hennepin and with the total metro. So 84 new houses in Dakota County last week. Median price point of $387,000. So, I mean, it's higher than what you'd see throughout the rest of the Twin Cities, but not as crazy as Scott County and Carver. 17 days on market. You are seeing houses that are selling in Dakota County that are tending to go over list. Doesn't really surprise me all that much, but um, yeah. So that is the snapshot for the week. I don't know. I kind of think we're at a pivot right now. I could see things maintaining. Um, I've got a new listing that just went to coming soon yesterday. It'll go live on Friday. We have 4 showings already booked for it. It's in a great city at a great price point. So I mean, I'm not surprised that we have 4. I have heard, a few people in the office only had 3 listings total last weekend on some of their houses, or 3 showings total on their listings last week. So yeah, I really want to see the next couple of weeks before I'm gonna put a stake in the ground on which way I think the market's gonna head. I'm expecting much of the same for the next few weeks, anyways. I don't know. Q3, Q4 could be an interesting time to be a buyer in this market. It might be a little more fun to start looking again, which would it would be good to be a seller too. But yeah. So as always, guys, I hope you got some value out of this. If you've got questions, comments, need help looking, buying, selling, real estate, anything, you know where to find me. Drop a comment below. Shoot me an email. Shoot me a text. I'm pretty easy to find. And yeah, with that, hope you guys have a great week. And I will be back with another video next week. Take care.